Where does the soul go after death? When a person dies, the world around them moves on. Clocks tick, traffic hums, people go about their lives, but something invisible detaches from the body, something ancient, something eternal. The body grows cold, yet something within it still lingers, watching silently. That something is the soul. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but at the moment of death, when the final breath slips away, the soul awakens to a new reality. It doesn't scream, it doesn't panic, it simply remembers that it was never truly the body, that this life was just a chapter, that death is not the end, but the doorway, and so begins the journey. The soul rises slowly, like morning mist. It looks down at the lifeless body and feels no pain, only silence, deep, heavy silence. It tries to speak, but there is no mouth. It tries to move, but the world now seems distant, like a fading dream. Then a light, a soft, gentle pull, not from the sky, not from the earth, but from within. The soul begins to float across the ceiling, across the room, and then far beyond the walls of the world it once knew. It feels a strange peace, as if it has returned to something long forgotten. Memories flash, not just from this life, but from something older, something deeper, lives that the conscious mind had no idea ever existed. The soul is not alone. In this realm, time does not flow forward, it folds inwards. A second feels like a lifetime feels like a whisper. The soul moves toward a realm where emotions are colors, where thoughts echo like music, and where every heartbeat you ever felt still exists in vibration. A great review begins, not by a judge, not by a god in a throne, but by the soul itself. A review of love, of hurt, of kindness and cruelty, of what you gave and what you withheld. But no one is punished. No one is rewarded, only understanding. The soul sees itself truly. All masks fall away. The ego is no more. And then comes a voice, gentle, ancient, loving. The tunnel between worlds. There is a light, but it is not like sunlight or firelight or even starlight. This light is alive, soft, warm, and endless. It doesn't blind the soul. It embraces it. As the soul drifts forward, the space around it changes. It is no longer a room or a city or a planet. It is a passage. Some call it the tunnel, but it is more than that. It is memory. It is emotion. It is the space between stories. The soul moves through it, slowly, gently, as if floating through the quiet spaces between heartbeats, and all around it visions. A child crying for its mother, a wedding day, a deep, private shame, a forgotten kindness, a prayer whispered long ago. Every moment, every breath returning, but this time, the soul sees with different eyes. It understands why things happened the way they did, why certain people came into its life, why some left, why it suffered, why it loved. Every pain, every joy, every silence now makes sense. This is the life review, not of punishment, but of clarity. There are no judges here, only mirrors. The soul sees its own reflection, not in glass, but in memory, in energy. And as it drifts deeper into the tunnel, a strange awareness arises. I have done this before, not once, not twice, many times. Different names, different faces, different lands. The soul has worn many bodies, male, female, rich, poor, king, beggar. Each life was a lesson, a classroom, a stage, and death was never an ending, only the changing of costume. Now, voices begin to whisper from beyond the tunnel. Some are familiar ancient souls that once walked beside you, maybe in another form, another lifetime. They are not ghosts, they are not angels, they are family, soul family, connected, not by blood, but by resonance. Some greet the soul with warmth, others wait in silence, but none force anything, because here there is no pressure, no hurry, only truth. And the truth is this: the soul is eternal. It is not lost. It is simply returning. Ahead lies a great field of light, a place where all stories begin and all wounds are healed. But not all souls go there yet. Some remain near the earth, lingering, waiting, watching. Some are not ready to move on. They are tied by grief, by regret, by unfinished desires. But the soul in this journey is ready, and as it crosses through the final part of the tunnel, a question echoes once more, not from outside, but from deep within. Do you remember who you truly are? The light grows brighter, and the journey continues. The Garden of Souls. There is a place beyond the tunnel, a space not made of matter, but of meaning. The soul enters it gently, like a breeze returning home. There are no walls here, no clocks, no cities, only feeling, only presence. Some call it the Garden of Souls. Here, the soul does not walk, it glides. It does not speak, it remembers. And around it, thousands, millions of others, not seen through eyes, but felt through energy. Some are old companions from forgotten lives. Some are strangers, yet feel more familiar than family. They glow, not with light, but with wisdom. Some are resting, Some are preparing for a return, and some are simply watching. In this place, time bends like a river. A moment can stretch for eternity. 1,000 years can feel like a heartbeat. The soul is taken not by force, but by invitation to a quiet lake of memory. It looks into the water and sees its true form, not the face of its last human life, but the soul, pure, radiant, complex beyond words, a tapestry of every lifetime, every lesson, every tear and triumph. Here, in the garden, the soul remembers the soul council guides who have watched over its journey through many lives. They do not command, they suggest, they do not judge, they reflect. Each guide carries a different vibration: love, courage, wisdom, patience, humor. They ask one gentle question: what have you learned? Not as a test, but as a mirror. And slowly, the soul speaks, not with words, but with waves of feeling, with colors, with memory. It speaks of pain and beauty, of choices made in fear and in love, of regrets and of growth. And the guides smile, not because the soul was perfect, but because it tried, because it dared to learn, because it chose the hardest school of all earth. The soul then visits its karmic tapestry, the web of connections, actions, and energies it has woven across lifetimes. Some threads glow bright where love was shared, where help was given. Some are tangled, unfinished business, unresolved hurt, and the soul feels no shame, only understanding, because now it sees every act of love echoes forever. Every small kindness mattered. And then a choice. The soul is not forced to return, but it is shown the possibilities. A new life, a new role, a new story. Born to heal a wound, born to complete a promise, born to love again. And once more, the soul asks, am I ready to forget again? To forget this garden, these guides, this light, to become small, once more helpless, vulnerable, human? The answer is never rushed, but when the soul says yes, when it chooses the descent, the garden gently fades. The stars whisper goodbye, and somewhere, far below, on earth, a baby takes its first breath, the descent into flesh. It begins with a silence, not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of choice. The soul has chosen to return, to leave behind the garden of souls, to forget the stars, to wrap itself once more in the fragile shell of human life. And so begins the descent, a shimmering spiral of consciousness, narrowing slowly, folding inwards from infinite awareness to a single heartbeat, from pure energy to the weight of skin and bone. The soul is not afraid. It knows this pain. It knows this wonder. As it descends, it passes through veils, layers of forgetting. One by one, the memories dim. The faces of the soul council fade. The light of past lives fades. Even the memory of choosing this journey fades, until all that remains is a whisper, a soft, echoing promise. You chose this. You are not alone. And then darkness, the womb, warmth, heartbeat, floating, a universe contained within flesh. The soul listens to the rhythm of the mother's body. It feels her emotions as colors: red for fear, gold for joy, grey for grief. It cannot speak, but it remembers her. Perhaps she was a lover in a past life. Perhaps she was once a child the soul had raised. Now, she is the gateway back to earth. Time moves strangely. Weeks stretch like centuries. Fingers form. Eyes blink. The heart begins its lifelong drumbeat. And slowly, the soul fuses with the body. Not completely, never completely. A part of it always remains above, connected by a thread of light. Then comes the moment. The spiral tightens. The tunnel narrows. And the world outside begins to call. A blinding light. A sudden cold. A cry. Birth. The soul enters the world again. Not with memory, but with instinct. Not with words, but with wonder. It has no name yet, no language, but it already carries a story. Old wisdom sleeps behind newborn eyes. Ancient pain hides behind that first cry. And somewhere in the stillness between breaths, the soul whispers to itself, don't forget why you came, even if you forget everything else. You are here to learn, to feel, to love again. And so, the journey begins. One more time. The final return. There comes a time when the body can no longer hold the soul, when even the strongest heart whispers enough. It may come suddenly, like lightning in the night, or it may arrive slowly, like a sunset stretching its shadow across the years. But for every soul, it comes. And when it does, the world stills, the hands grow cold, the breath fades like mist, and the eyes turn inward. Death is not the end. It is the great remembering, the moment when the veil falls and everything we had forgotten returns. The soul rises gently, unfolding from the body like smoke from flame. No pain, only weightlessness. only awe. It looks down, sees the body it once wore, the smile lines, the scars, the wrinkles of laughter and loss. It thanks it and lets it go. Now the soul begins its return. It travels beyond time, beyond sound, to a place it once called home. The tunnel of light is not just light. It is memory. It is love. It is the embrace of all who waited. Familiar faces greet it. Souls it once knew. Some it had forgotten. Some it never truly left. They do not speak, but their welcome is a song the soul has longed to hear. And then the council, the great ones, the keepers of truth, they do not judge. They ask, what did you learn? What did you feel? What would you choose next time? And the soul, now free of fear, answers honestly. Every regret, every joy, every secret shared like petals falling from a tree. No shame, no guilt, only understanding. And the soul sees it all, the life it lived, like a painting in motion, the people it touched, the tears it caused, the love it gave, the moments it forgot mattered, but mattered deeply. And in that moment, it weeps, not out of sorrow, but gratitude, because even the pain was precious. Even the failure had meaning. Even the darkness led to light. Then silence. Then peace. And finally, a question. Are you ready to go back? The soul smiles, because now it knows life is not a punishment. It is a gift. The body is not a prison. It is a sacred tool. And death is not goodbye. It is homecoming. The soul rests in the great garden of stars for as long as it needs, until the pull of love calls it again, until earth whispers again, come, feel, forget, remember, live. And when the time is right, the soul descends once more, not as an ending, but as the beginning of a new story. One more journey, one more chance to love, and so it goes forever.